In this video, I am going to be introducing you to the concept of API, backend, communications, and integrating it to your front end so that you would understand why you need API. A basic application would look like this: having forms, having inputs, having entries, having the button to delete, having the button to edit. And in modern application, there is a separation of concern between the backend and the front end. Not every time, but most of the time, because we are building application at different structures, at different layer, and there is high level of integration going on. API, which means application programming interface, is a way of communicating between different servers. Your front end on your browser is an environment, and your backend, which you didn't know where it even lives, is another environment. Sending data and retrieving it from that environment is via API. And in relation to API, we also have REST, which is representational state transfer. So representational state transfer is a guideline structure of how API endpoints. What are endpoints? Endpoints are the links that links the front end, in this case, to the back end. For example, this is a base URL, and if we go to one of these tables, a complete URL like this is an endpoint. So you need to be able to use the data from your front end to get data at the back end. Let's look at a very simple example here. If you are to get the list of planets and I copy, so for example, let me quickly come here, copy a URL. So I'm going to be pasting the API key manually, and let me up here to copy our API key. I'm pasting it and I click enter. So here is a data fetched from our backend environment using REST API. To bring it into clearer context, we could use Postman. We all know, we should know Postman. If I put it here and I get it, so I could see the data that I am fetching. Now, the utmost objective is to integrate this kind of data into our front end. Let's assume a list like this. If I want to get a list of planets, and that is what I would be doing for you here. We would be using Axios, which is an HTTP request library that is popular in JavaScript. We are going to be using Axios, and I'm going to be using HTML. So we have a basic HTML page here. Let's see what it looks like. We have this simple page. I don't really need the inputs. And the next thing we'll be doing in this page is to integrate our HTTP library, which is Axios. If you are using npm, either is React, either is Vue, it is almost the same thing. And for you to use Axios, you have to understand how it works. Let me just disable auto completion for a while so that I can show us this. Axios has 4 main operations for actions that is being performed on the backend. So we have .post, we have .put, we have .get, and we have .delete. Post is using for creating new record. Put is for updating record. Get is for retrieving record. And delete is for deleting record, as its name suggests. So what does it look like? Any kind of request is asynchronous in nature. When I say asynchronous, I mean that if this function starts and we console.log something here, immediately this is executed. It does not wait for the response from the backend before it executes this. And as a result of that, there is need for either await or .then chaining. So let's go with .then. If you want to perform an action after a data has completely been retrieved from the backend, let's use .get in this case. .get collects a parameter which is the URL of the backend that you are fetching. In this case, let's get list of planets from HiSend let's pick API key from anywhere. Then if you want to perform an operation with the data when it has returned, you do .then. So this is important. Then inside this bracket you have response. This variable could be anything except you are destructuring the variable, but response is a popular way of saying it. So we can say console.log response. If there is an error, we can handle it in .catch. .catch takes the error argument Note we are passing an anonymous function to each of these hook, and we can also console.log our error. And there is this third one which is .finally. That is, regardless of if it fails or if it passes, this is executed. This is particularly useful for enabling and disabling button state. Let's say when the form starts loading, you disable the button, and when you get a response, either it fails or it succeeds, you want to enable the button back. You typically do such in .finally. This is what our GET request looks like, and the next important thing you need to know is the second parameter, which is the headers you will be sending to the server. You should see headers as a way of informing the server at architectural level, the state of data you are sending and the state of the response you are expecting. Remember, we are using a representational state transfer. One of the most popular headers that you would use, so we'd have the headers object here, and one of the most popular one you would use is authorization. So you are saying, so this is used for authentication. Then we would have our token here. That is for get request. Get request is very similar to delete request. It's just almost the same thing, except for what is called, and it takes a representational endpoint that is trying to identify a particular resource. Let's say, for example, /planet/art. That is how delete request looks like. The essence of this video is to get you familiar with the structure so that by the time we are using them later, it won't be foreign to you. And the next one we'll be looking at is the post. So for the axis.post, the first thing it takes is the endpoint, and the second thing is the data you are sending to the server. Let's assume you want to create a user. We are sending first name, building, last name, Banbury, company, let's say Innovate. So this is the second parameter of the post request, and the third parameter is the headers. So we can just copy this and use it here. And it also follows the same convention. Every of the request follow the same convention of .then, .catch, and .finally. And we also have the update, which is .put. So the update also takes a parameter of what you are trying to update, and it takes the header, and then we also have the .then, .catch, .finally. Having a basic understanding of this would help you as we proceed further throughout this tutorial. Thank you.